to public session. Just reminding members to switch off mobile phones and electronic devices. They will interfere with recording equipment. Next item is human transplantation bill, the formal clause by clause scrutiny. I'm asking, do any members want to declare an interest?
Chair, if I may declare an interest as a sponsor of the bill and just maybe say a few words, if you may, because this has been, as you know, a considerable amount of my life promoting organ donation. The committee members are aware of my views on the proposals, so as I said earlier, I'm being disappointed that having the department's amendments, I've had them from December, and now for the third week the committee has pointed out the continued absence for the consider, and I feel strongly that these would have assisted us going forward with the bill. Yesterday's topical questions, the Chamber, the Minister isn't giving the matter his fullest consideration, as we were told. Otherwise, we would have received the promised assistance as a committee and to me as a sponsor. I asked for help during that second stage debate, and I feel we are poor for its absence. Looking at the options before us today, I would ask members to consider whether they wish to amend the bill as proposed through option B, or gut the bill as proposed through option A. I'm supporting B because of the double lock. It provides for family consent. Firstly, the family will have the right of objection, and also no qualifying members are present, the consent does not apply. So,
okay, thank you for those comments. Okay, members, just to then remind members that the clerk's memo is at page 10 of your tabled papers, and the proposed committee amendments are at page 3 of your tabled papers, which are obviously on the tables. Members should also have the bill to hand as we proceed. Again, remind members that this is the formal clause by clause consideration of the bill. I'll proceed through the clauses and put the questions formally, just to advise members that there are amendments. I put the question on the amendment first. If there's not consensus on the questions, I'll ask members to vote through a show of hands, and the clerk then will confirm the result of each vote. So, moving to clause 1, members. Clause 1 sets out the department's duty to promote and provide information about transplantation, including a specific duty to inform the public about deemed consent. The committee had proposed an amendment to remove the reference to deeming. This is at page 3 of your tabled pack. So, excuse me, I'm putting the question: is the committee content with the proposed committee amendment? Yep. I'm taking a bit of a show of hands for yes, then. All in favour of the proposed committee amendment? Against? Okay, I'm going to ask the clerk to confirm that.
Okay. The ayes we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi McKay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin. The noes we have Ciara McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael Majimsey and Joanne Dobson. So it's carried.
Okay. So if it's carried, so I'm going to put the question: is the committee content with clause 1 subject to the committee's proposed amendment? All those in favour? Show of hands. And against? I'm going to ask the clerk again to confirm that.
The ayes we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi McKay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin. The noes Ciara McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael Majimsey and Joanne Dobson. Carried.
Okay, members, moving to clause 2, which deals with the lawfulness of transplantation activities. The committee again had proposed 2 amendments to remove subsections 1 and 3, but to keep subsection 2. This was because subsection 2 defines transplantation activities which are necessary for the purposes of clause 14. The amendments are at page 3 of your tabled pack. I'm therefore putting the question: is the committee content with the proposed committee amendments. So all those in agreement? Against?
Okay, the ayes we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin. The noes we have Kieran McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael McGimpsey and Joanne Dobson. It's carried.
Okay, members, moving to clause 3, which relates to express consent. Oh, sorry, I have to ask the question there. Is the committee therefore content with clause 2, subject to the committee's proposed amendments? All those in favour? And against? Sorry for that confusion. Okay, moving
The
to...
ayes we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin. The noes we have Kieran McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael McGimpsey and Joanne Dobson. It's carried.
Moving to clause 3, which relates to express consent. There were no proposed amendments. So I'm putting the question, is the committee content with clause 3 as drafted? All those in favour? Against?
The ayes we have Kieran McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael McGimpsey, Joanne Dobson. The noes we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley and Maeve McLaughlin.
Okay, so at this point,
Oh, therefore falls.
yeah, at this point, if that has fallen, I'm going to have to ask members, do they want to formally register opposition to clause 3 with the Bills Office? That simply means that the opposition will be listed on the Marshall list of amendments, and obviously then would attract speaking rights in the same way as other amendments would, and it would apply to all clauses where opposition would be recorded. So are members in agreement that that is recorded on the Marshall list? Okay.
No.
Okay, we need to do a show of hands on this then. Okay, members in agreement that that is recorded, all in favour? And against?
The ayes we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin. The noes we have Kieran McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael McGimpsey, Joanne Dobson. It's therefore carried.
Thank you, members. Moving to clause 4, which deals with deemed consent for deceased adults. The committee has proposed 3 amendments to require that deemed consent can only be effective if contact has been made with a person in a qualifying relationship, and to remove references to affirmation and instead replace it with objection. These amendments are tabled at page 7, of your tabled pack. So I'm putting the question, is the committee content with the proposed committee amendments? Okay, first of all those in favour?
Sorry, Chair, that's amended clause. Yeah.
And against? Okay.
Okay. The ayes Kieran McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael McGimpsey, Joanne Dobson. The noes Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin. Therefore falls.
Okay, so therefore is the committee content with clause 4 as drafted?
No.
Okay, first of all those in favour? And against?
Okay. The ayes we have Kieran McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael McGimpsey, Joanne Dobson. The noes we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley and Maeve McLaughlin. Therefore falls.
Okay, so I also need on this regard need to ask if we want to formally register opposition to clause 4 with the Bills Office, similar to a previous clause. All those in favour with registering it with the Bills Office? And those against?
Okay, for the ayes, we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin. The noes, we have Kieran McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael Majimsey and Joanne Dobson, therefore carried.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving to clause 5, which relates to express consent for accepted adults. There were no proposed amendments to this, so I'm putting the question, is the committee content with clause 5 as drafted? All those in favour?
Yes.
Against?
The ayes, we have Kieran McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael Majimsey, Joanne Dobson. The noes, we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin, therefore falls.
Okay, so I'm going to ask, do members want to formally register opposition to clause 5 with the Bills Office? All those in favour? And against?
The ayes, Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin. The noes, Kieran McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael Majimsey, Joanne Dobson, therefore carried.
Okay, members, moving to clause 6, which relates to express consent for children. There were no proposed amendments. I'm therefore putting the question, is the committee content with clause 6 as drafted? All those in favour? And against?
Okay. The ayes, we have Kieran McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael Majimsey, Joanne Dobson. The noes, we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin, therefore falls.
Okay, so therefore again, members wish to formally registered opposition to clause 6 with the Bills Office? All those in favour? And against?
The ayes, we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin. The noes, we have Kieran McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael Majimsey, Joanne Dobson, it's therefore carried.
Okay, thank you. Clause 7 relates to transplantation activities involving excluded material, and there are no proposed amendments to this. So I'm putting the question, is the committee content with clause 7 as drafted? All those in favour? And against?
The ayes, we have Kieran McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael Majimsey, Joanne Dobson. The noes, we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin, therefore falls.
Okay, again, asking members then, do they wish to formally register opposition to clause 7 with the Bills Office? All those in favour? And against? Thank you. Sorry.
The ayes, we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin. The noes, we have Kieran McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael Majimsey and Joanne Dobson, therefore carried.
Okay, thank you. And clause 8, which governs transplantations from the body of a living adult who lacks the capacity to consent to the transplantation. There were no proposed amendments to this, so I'm putting the question, is the committee content with clause 8 as drafted? All those in favour? Against?
The ayes, we have Kieran McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael Majimsey, Joanne Dobson. The noes, we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin, therefore falls.
Okay, thank you. Again, asking members if they wish to formally register opposition to clause 8 with the Bills Office. All those in favour? And against?
The ayes, we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin. The noes, we have Kieran McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael McGimpsey and Joanne Dobson. Therefore carried.
Okay. Clause 9 deals with appointed persons. There were no proposed amendments. So therefore the question is the committee content with clause 9 as drafted? All those in favour? And against?
The ayes, we have Kieran McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael McGimpsey, Joanne Dobson. The noes, we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley and Maeve McLaughlin. Therefore falls.
Thank you, right. And so therefore I'm going to put the question again. Do members wish to formally register opposition to clause 9 with the Bills Office? All those in favour? And against?
The ayes, we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin. The noes, we have Kieran McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael McGimpsey and Joanne Dobson. Therefore carried.
Okay, moving to clause 10, which sets out the meaning of qualifying relationship. Again, there were no proposed amendments. So the question is the committee content with clause 10 as drafted? All those in favour? And against?
The ayes, we have Kieran McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael McGimpsey, Joanne Dobson. The noes, we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin. Therefore falls.
Okay, therefore I'm putting the question, do members wish to formally register opposition to clause 10 with the Bills Office? All those in favour? And against? Thank you. Moving to, oh sorry.
Okay. The ayes, we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin. The noes, we have Kieran McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael McGimpsey, Joanne Dobson. Therefore carried.
Okay, moving to clause 11 then, which provides that it is an offence to carry out transplantation activity if there is not appropriate consent. And there were no proposed amendments to this. So I'm putting the question, is the committee content with clause 11 as drafted? All those in favour? And against?
The ayes, we have Kieran McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael McGimpsey, Joanne Dobson. The noes, we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley and Maeve McLaughlin. Therefore falls.
Okay, again, do members wish to formally register opposition to clause 11 with the Bills Office? All those in favour? And against?
The ayes, we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin. The noes, we have Kieran McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael McGimpsey and Joanne Dobson. It's therefore carried.
Moving to clause 12, which provides that organisations and groups can be guilty of offences under this bill. There were no proposed amendments to this. So the question is the committee content with clause 12 as drafted? All those in favour? And against?
The ayes, we have Kieran McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael McGimpsey, Joanne Dobson. The noes, we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley and Maeve McLaughlin. Therefore falls.
Okay, therefore I'm going to put the question, does the members wish to formally register opposition to clause 12 with the Bills Office? All those in favour? And against?
The ayes, we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin. The noes, we have Kieran McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael McGimpsey, Joanne Dobson. Therefore carried.
Okay, members, moving to clause 13, which provides that a person can only be prosecuted for an offence under the bill if the Director of Public Prosecution consents to the prosecution. There were no proposed amendments to this, so I'm putting the question, are members content with clause 13 as drafted? All those in favour? And against?
The ayes, we have Ciarán McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael McGimsey, Joanne Dobson. The noes, we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin. Therefore falls.
Okay, again, members, to indicate if you wish to formally register opposition to clause 13 with the Bill's office. All those in favour? And against?
The ayes, we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin. The noes, we have Ciarán McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael McGimsey and Joanne Dobson. Therefore carried.
Okay, members, moving to clause 14, which sets up a mechanism for post-legislative scrutiny. This is one proposed committee amendment to make reference to the Human Tissue Act, to provide for a broader review within 5 years and periodically after that. It is tabled at page 4 of your tabled pack. So I'm putting the question, is the committee content with the proposed committee amendment? All those in favour? Against?
The ayes, we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin. The noes, we have Ciarán McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael McGimsey and Joanne Dobson. Therefore carried.
So I'm putting the question in, is the committee content with clause 14 subject to the committee's proposed amendment? In favour? And against?
The ayes, we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin. The noes, we have Ciarán McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael McGimsey and Joanne Dobson. It's therefore carried.
Okay, thank you. Members, moving to clause 15, which makes it lawful to keep the body of a deceased person whilst the issues of consent are being resolved. There were no proposed amendments. Is the committee content with clause 15 as drafted? All those in favour? And against?
The ayes, we have Ciarán McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael McGimsey, Joanne Dobson. The noes, Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin. Therefore falls.
Okay, therefore do members wish to formally register opposition to clause 15 with the Bill's office? All those in favour? And against?
The ayes, we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin. The noes, we have Ciarán McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael McGimsey, Joanne Dobson. Therefore carried.
Thank you. Moving to clause 16 of the bill, which provides that coroners carrying out their jobs are exempt from the rules set out in the bill. There are no proposed amendments. So I'm putting the question, is the committee content with clause 16 as drafted? All those in favour? And against?
The ayes, we have Ciarán McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael McGimsey, Joanne Dobson. The noes, we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley and Maeve McLaughlin. Therefore falls.
Okay, again, do members wish to formally register opposition to clause 16 with the Bill's office? All those in favour? And against?
The ayes, we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin. The noes, we have Ciarán McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael McGimsey, Joanne Dobson. Therefore carried.
Okay. Moving to clause 17, which sets out the definition of material removed from the body for the purposes of transplantation. There are no proposed amendments. I'm putting the question, is the committee content with clause 17 as drafted? All those in favour? Against? Okay, so that's unanimous. Okay, so clause 18, just keep me right here, I'm on the right, yes. Clause 18 defines various terms referred to in the bill. There are 4 proposed committee amendments to remove some definitions. They're at page 4 of your tabled papers. The amendments will retain the definition, excuse me, of the department, relevant material, and add subsections 5 and 6. So this is clause 18, members, and I'm asking, is the committee content with the proposed committee amendments? All those in favour? And against?
The ayes, we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Diane Mackay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin. The noes, we have Kieran McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael McGimsey, Joanne Dobson. It's therefore carried.
Okay, so I'm going to ask at this point then, is the committee content with clause 18 subject to the committee's proposed amendments? All those in favour? And against?
The ayes, we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin. The noes, we have Kieran McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael McGimsey, Joanne Dobson. It's therefore carried.
Okay, members, moving to clause 19, which sets out the procedure for making subordinate legislation under the bill. There are no proposed amendments, so I put in the question, is the committee content with clause 19 as drafted? All those in favour? And against?
The ayes, we have Kieran McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael McGimsey, Joanne Dobson. The noes, we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rose McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin. Therefore falls.
Okay, so do members wish to formally register opposition to clause 19 with the Bills Office? All those in favour? And against?
The ayes, we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin. The noes, we have Kieran McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael McGimsey, Joanne Dobson. It's therefore carried.
Members, moving to clause 20, which makes amendments to the Human Tissue Act 2004. There were no proposed amendments to this. So is the committee content with clause 20 as drafted? All those in favour? And against?
The ayes, we have Kieran McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael McGimsey, Joanne Dobson. The noes, we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin. Therefore falls.
Okay, again, do members wish to formally register opposition to clause 20 with the Bills Office? All those in favour? And against?
The ayes, we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin. The noes, we have Kieran McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael McGimsey, Joanne Dobson. Therefore carried.
Clause 21 provides that the duty to promote transplantation, the interpretation section and the short title come into operation 3 months after the bill becomes an act. The remaining parts come into operation on the 31st of May 2018. There were no proposed amendments, so I'm putting the question, is the committee content with clause 21 as drafted? All those in favour? It's unanimous. Okay, clause 22 specifies the name of the bill. There were no proposed amendments, so is the committee content with clause 22 as drafted? All those in favour? Unanimous as well, it's carried. Okay, members, moving to clause, the schedule. Okay, the schedule makes amendments to the Human Tissue Act 2004. Again, there were no amendments, no proposed amendments, so we're putting the question, is the committee content with the schedule as drafted? All those in favour? And against?
The ayes, we have Kieran McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael McGimpsey, Joanne Dobson. The noes, we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin. Therefore falls.
Okay, so again, I'm asking members, do you wish to formally register opposition to the schedule with the Bill's office? All those in favour? Against?
Sorry, no.
The ayes, we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin. The noes, we have Kieran McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael McGimpsey, Joanne Dobson. It's therefore carried.
Okay, members, moving to the long title, put in the question, is the Minister, as the committee content with the long title as drafted? All those in favour? And against?
The ayes, we have Kieran McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael McGimpsey, Joanne Dobson. The noes, we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin. Therefore falls.
Okay, again, asking members, do they wish to formally register opposition to the long title with the Bill's office? All those in favour? And against?
The ayes, we have Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Dahi Mackay, Rosie McCorley, Maeve McLaughlin. The noes, we have Kieran McCarthy, Fergal McKinney, Michael McGimpsey, Joanne Dobson. Therefore carried.
Okay, members, just to advise, thank members for their cooperation on that, just to advise members that the committee now will consider and agree a report on the committee stage of the bill at next week's meeting.
Good.
Okay, members, moving on. Item 4 is chairperson's business. You'll be glad to know I don't have any business at this point. Item 5 is the draft minutes of the meeting on Wednesday the 20th of January, which are at page 187 of your meeting pack. Are members content with the minutes?
Good.
Okay, item 6, members, is the Health and Personal Social Services Amendment Bill, which again is the formal clause-by-clause scrutiny. I just want to refer members to a copy of the bill and the EFM, which are at pages 192 to 202 of your meeting pack. Again, reminding members that this is the formal clause-by-clause consideration of the bill. I will proceed through the clauses and put the questions formally. Just to advise members that there are amendments. There aren't amendments, I'm being told. There aren't amendments, so we'll just move through the clauses in order. Clause 1 deals with additional powers in respect of registered persons. There are no proposed amendments, so I am asking, is the committee content with Clause 1 as drafted?
Good.
Agreed? Okay. Clause 2 deals with powers to obtain and disclose information, and there are no proposed amendments. Is the committee content with Clause 2 as drafted?
Good.
Agreed.
Clause 3 deals with social workers to be registered in the North Register. There are no proposed amendments to this, so I'm putting the question, is the committee content with Clause 3 as drafted?
Good.
Agreed.
And Clause 4 deals with the recognition of attainment of standards by social workers.
Right, okay.
There were no proposed amendments. Is the committee content with Clause 4 as drafted?
Good.
And Clause 5 deals with the appeals to the care tribunal. Again, there were no proposed amendments. So is the committee content with Clause 5 as drafted?
Great.
Agreed.
And Clause 6 deals with minor and consequential amendments. There were no proposed amendments to this. So is the committee content with Clause 6 as drafted?
Yep.
Agreed.
Clause 7 deals with interpretation. There were no proposed amendments. Is the committee content with Clause 7 as drafted?
Good.
And Clause 8 deals with commencement. There were no proposed amendments. Is the committee content with Clause 8 as drafted?
Agreed.
And clause 9 deals with the short title. There were no proposed amendments. So is the committee content with clause 9 as drafted?
Agreed.
The long title, is the committee content with the long title as drafted?
Agreed.
Right.
Just then to advise members that the committee will consider and agree our report on the committee stage of this bill at next week's meeting. Moving on then, members, to item 7, which is the Health Miscellaneous Provisions Bill, which is the formal clause-by-clause scrutiny. Again, just to remind members, the committee completed the informal clause-by-clause deliberations on the clauses of the bill on the 20th of January 2016. Just to refer members to pages 203 to 231 of your meeting pack for the relevant papers, and reminded members that this is a formal clause-by-clause consideration of the bill. It is therefore a vital and essential part of our duties and is obviously needed for the preparation of the committee report. I will proceed through the clauses and put the questions formally. I'd advise members that where there are amendments, I'd put the question on the amendment first. So clause 1 deals with the prohibition of sale of nicotine products to persons under 18. There are no proposed amendments. Is the committee content with clause 1 as drafted?
Agreed.
And clause 2 deals with the prohibition of the sale of nicotine products from vending machines. There are no proposed amendments. So is the committee content with clause 2 as drafted?
Agreed.
New clause, to inform members that the department has proposed an amendment to insert a new clause 2A to provide that the department may, by regulations, amend the provisions of the Tobacco Retailers Act 2014 relating to the Register of Tobacco Retailers to apply them in relation to nicotine product retailers as well as tobacco retailers. The text of that amendment can be found at page 206 of your meeting pack. So I'm putting the question, is the committee content with the department's proposed amendment to insert new clause A?
Agreed.
2A. Agreed. Okay. Clause 3 deals with amendments that are consequential on sections 1 and 2. And just to inform members that the department has proposed an amendment to clause 3 as a consequence of its amendment to insert new clause 2A. The text of that amendment can be found at page 206 of your meeting pack. So I'm putting the question, is the committee content with the proposed departmental amendment?
Agreed.
Agreed. Okay, I'm therefore putting the question, is the committee content with clause 3 subject to the proposed departmental amendment?
Agreed.
Okay. Clause 4 deals with the amendment of the Order of 1991, and there are no proposed amendments. So I'm putting the question, is the committee content with clause 4 as drafted?
Agreed.
And clause 5 deals with the interpretation of part 1, the definition of nicotine product. There were no proposed amendments. So is the committee content with clause 5 as drafted?
Agreed.
Okay, new part 2, members, just to inform members that the department has proposed an amendment to insert a new part 2 which would ban smoking in private cars with children. The text of that amendment can be found at page 209 of the meeting pack. Can I ask then, is the committee content with the department's proposed amendment to insert a new part 2?
Agreed.
No.
Good news. Clause 6.
Sorry, Fergal.
Sorry, Fargo, you.
Just against.
Oh, sorry.
So opposed to that amendment in the way that it's done.
Sorry, I need to put it to vote then. So this is in terms of new part 2. So I'm putting the question again. Is the committee content with the department's proposed amendment to insert a new part 2? All those in favour? And against?
My own amendment.
Okay. If you just give me a minute, Fargo. The ayes of Tom Buchanan, Pam Cameron, Alex Easton, Ciara McCarthy, Rosie McCorley, Dahi Mackay, Maeve McLaughlin. The noes, we have Fergal McKinney. It's therefore carried.
Okay, thank you for that, members. Clause 6 deals with persons performing primary dental services. There are no proposed amendment. Is the committee content with clause 6 as drafted?
Agreed.
Clause 7, there were no proposed amendments. Is the committee content with clause 7 as drafted?
Yep. Agreed.
Great. Clause 8, which deals, with pharmaceutical services. Are members content? There were no proposed amendments. Are members content with clause 8 as drafted?
Agreed.
And clause 9 deals with disqualification by the tribunal. There were no proposed amendments. Is the committee content with clause 9 as drafted?
Agreed.
And clause 10 deals with the provision of medical or dental services. Article 15B arrangements. There were no proposed amendments. So I'm putting the question, is the committee content with clause 10 as drafted?
Agreed.
Thank you. And clause 11 deals with charges for services provided to persons not ordinarily resident, and there were no proposed amendments. So therefore the question is the committee content with clause 11 as drafted?
Agreed.
And clause 12 deals with interpretation. There were no proposed amendments. So is the committee content with clause 12 as drafted?
Agreed.
Clause 13 deals with regulations and orders. There were no proposed amendments. Is the committee content with clause 13 as drafted?
Agreed.
14 deals with repeals. There were no proposed amendments. Is the committee content with clause 14 as drafted?
Agreed.
And 15 deals with commencement. There were no proposed amendments to this, so is the committee content with clause 15 as drafted?
Agreed.
16 deals with the short title. There were no proposed amendments. Is the committee content with clause 16 as drafted?
Agreed.
And Schedule 1 deals with the amendments consequential on sections 1 and 2. There are no proposed amendments. So is the committee content with Schedule 1 as drafted?
Agreed.
Schedule 2 deals with repeals. There were no proposed amendments. Is the committee content with Schedule 2 as drafted?
Agreed.
Moving to the long title, to inform members that the Department has proposed an amendment to the long title as a consequence of the new proposed Part 2. The text of that amendment can be found on page 210 of your meeting pack. Therefore, I am putting the question, is the committee content with the proposed departmental amendment?
Agreed.
So therefore, is the committee content with the long title subject to the proposed departmental amendment?
Agreed.
Okay, members. Moving to the next item, which is item 8, an SL1, the Firefighters Pension Scheme, Consequential Provisions Amendment Regulations 2016, page 233 of your meeting pack for the relevant papers. Just to advise members that the purpose of this statutory rule is to introduce a further consequential amendment resulting from the abolition of contracting out from the 6th of April 2016. It's a minor and technical amendment in nature. The rule is subject to the draft affirmative resolution procedure. So are members content that the Department makes this statutory rule?
Agreed.
Okay, item 9 then is the tobacco retailer regulation and display of notices regulation 2016, pages 238 of your meeting pack. The statutory rule establishes Belfast City Council as the registration authority for the purposes of maintaining a register of tobacco retailers. It also sets out the application form, which must be completed by retailers, and the requirements in relation to the wording and dimensions of a notice to be displayed by a retailer in the event of a restricted premises order being served. The rule is subject to the negative resolution procedure. So are members content that the Department makes a statutory rule. Item 10 is an SL1, the Tobacco Retailer Fixed Penalty Amount Regulations 2016, 245 of your meeting pack. And these regulations prescribe the amount of fixed penalties for certain tobacco related offences, as set out in Section 12 of the Tobacco Retailers Act 2014. And again, the rule is subject to draft affirmative resolution procedure. Are members content that the department makes a statutory rule?
Right.
And item 11 is an SL1 as well, the Tobacco Retailer General Regulations 2016, 251 of your meeting pack for the relevant papers. The regulations prescribe the form of fixed penalty notices which may be issued for certain tobacco-related offences as set out in Section 12 of the Tobacco Retailers Act 2014. The rule will be subject to the negative resolution procedure. Are members content the department makes a statutory rule?
Right.
And item 12 is the forward work programme, referring members to page 257 of your meeting pack. In terms of the 10th of February, at present there's no substantive agenda items scheduled for that meeting. I'm suggesting, members, that the committee hears from the department on its timetable for implementation of the Older Persons Commissioner's report on changing the culture of care. Members are mindful that the committee had prioritised this piece of work in relation to an inquiry into care, but obviously legislation has taken over, so I'm seeking agreement to do that on the 10th of February.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Thank you. Just to advise members that before dissolution, the committee will be meeting on the 24th of February, 2nd of March and 9th of March. There is a possibility of the last plenary taking place on Wednesday the 15th of March, so it wouldn't be sensible to schedule a meeting for that date at this point. The committee has talked about holding a stakeholder event also. However, the Long Gallery is fully booked out every Wednesday afternoon between now and dissolution. So I'm going to seek members' views on issues that we should deal with for the remainder of our meetings. I'm suggesting, members, that we would visit the North and West Belfast Protect Life Implementation Group, and I think particularly a number of members were in attendance yesterday when families were represented here, and I think it's particularly stark when we reflect on the 55 suicides that have taken place in Belfast alone last year, and I think it would be appropriate that the committee took time to visit that project to follow up with a briefing by the department on their revised Protect Life strategy that we haven't seen as of yet. So I'm suggesting that would be two pieces of work that we would take forward, and also I'm suggesting that we would hear from the department on the Mother and Children's Hospital proposal in Belfast that was included through the recent Fresh Start proposals. I would be very keen to get an update from the department as to timescales and how this will be taken forward in terms of capital investment. So there's three. First two are interrelated pieces of work. Do you member have any views on that, or members in agreement that we could proceed with those?
Yeah, great.
Thank you. Okay, under matters arising, there's 6 items under matters arising at page 260 to 267. Are members content to note? Okay, and under correspondence there are 7 items at 269 and 2475 of your meeting pack. I just want to draw your attention to one of them. 4.7 is correspondence from the hospice in relation to the draft children's palliative care strategy. I'm seeking agreement, members, to write to the department for a response to the issues raised in this correspondence. Are members in agreement to do that?
Great.
And I'm also asking then if members are content to note the remaining correspondence.
Great.
Any other business, members? Nope. Date, time and place of next meeting is Wednesday the 3rd of February, starting at 2 p.m. in room 29. Thank you.
This is the Northern Ireland Assembly Senate.